We're live. We're live. I'm so excited that you guys are here with me today. We're going to see if Facebook adds someone, and while we wait. So I'm so excited to have you guys here today. We're going to wait for Facebook to continue to bring some people on. I'm excited to talk to you as we continue our Women's History Month celebration on She Persisted. Sis, I am she. Today we're welcoming Dr. Chere Goode. I want you to do me a favor. If you're here, would you invite somebody into the room? Would you tag somebody? Would you bring them in and let them know that we are live? I'm so excited to talk to you guys today. I'm so excited about this topic of conversation that we are about to have. It's going to be a powerful one, Good morning, Kim. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate you showing up. You always show up. Let's jump on the screen. Hey guys, thank you so much for being here. We have about 4 of you on. I'm believing that Facebook is going to invite more people and more people are going to be here to show up. Just let me know in the comment area if you can hear me okay, if you can see me okay, and tag a friend. I want you to tag somebody and say, girl, did you persist? Right. And so before we bring on our guest and I share some of the announcements I have this morning, I want to talk to you guys about a couple of things. And let me mute my phone because, folks know you live and they still calling you. They crazy. So guys, look, this morning, we're continuing our topic on She Persisted, right? She persisted. If you was here last week, we talked about what that word persist means, right? It means that you did it anyway, right? It means that you continued firmly or obstinately in an opinion or a course of action in spite of difficulty, opposition, or failure. And obstinately means I did it even though I wasn't supposed to. I was stubborn. Let me sit. So that means that you wouldn't back down despite what you were going through. Do I have any people today that are watching that understands the pain point of being pushed and knowing that you had to persist in a situation that was difficult? People told you that you should have given up and that you should have thrown in the towel, but you made the decision in your life to do it anyway. You continued firmly. You continued obstinately in an opinion or a course of action in spite of what you faced, in spite of what people said, in spite of what you could possibly gain. I want to tell you one thing today. It's not happening to you. It's happening for you. That's my word for you today. It's not happening to you. It's happening for you. Something is taking place in your life. Something is happening in you that's going to push you to persist, and your persistence is not in vain. Your persistence is not something that is not going to be used for your good. And so it's important that I think that if you're listening and you're watching and if you're sharing with somebody, that you understand that to persist doesn't mean that you just sit still. To persist again means to continue firmly. I do it because I'm stubborn, because I believe that there's something greater, there's something better, there's something more powerful on the inside of me. I've been pushed, I've been pressured, I had my pain points, played with, but today I decided to show up because I know that the course of action that I've been on, the course that I've been on, in spite of difficulty, opposition, or failure, I'm going to do it anyway. Our special guest here today, Dr. Chere Goode, just joined the live. I'm going to throw in a little intro video that's just going to show you a little bit about what we have happening. I have some announcements that I want you guys to see, and some events that are happening both on my side and on the side of our special guest today. And I want to highlight some partners. How many of you know when you start something, it's good to have people that are partnered with you in purpose? And so we have partners today. And so I want to thank you for jumping on. I just want to shout out Angela C. Gray, Ray, Kaylee Keithline, Talitha. I see you, Miss Jackie, Classy Jackie. I see you, Kim Gore. Thank you guys for showing up. And if you would do me a favor, while I go ahead and hit the play button for our intro and our promo video to let you know what's happening, if you would go ahead and you would share this with somebody. And after this, after we watch this video, I'll introduce our guest speaker and I'll let her take the stage. Guys, I'm so excited to welcome Dr. Chere Goode today. She is powerful. She has a transformational story that I think is going to impact and touch many of you, because I know the women that are watching. I didn't tell you exactly what she was going to speak on, but I shared a little background about who she is and what she does. I'm going to go ahead and bring her up, and I want you guys to give her a coffee and community conversation welcome with me. Guys, would you help me welcome to this platform, Dr. Chere M. Goode.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm so excited and so happy that you are here to join us. You know, I gave the ladies a little quick peek at what you do and who you are. I'm not going to waste any time. I just, tell us, who is Dr. Chere Goode?
Dr. Chere Goode is a mom, a caregiver, take on many, many roles, and literally these days, moving step by step, one day at a time, dealing with feeling and healing from a lot of loss recently in my life. So, but I'm determined more than ever to persist and not let those things hold me down from continuing to pursue my dreams and goals.
That's exciting. Of course you're not. Dr. Chere Goode, you've been so successful in so many areas of your life. You are a 5 times best-selling author. You have multiple businesses. You produce your own conference. You're known as the recharge strategist. I need to recharge. Oh my goodness. Right? And there's a lot, that you have on your plate that you carry, but you carry it so well. So tell us, what's your motivation? Tell us about your businesses, about some of the books that you've written, some of the books that you're in process of pushing out. I saw a recent new anthology that you were working on. Share with the ladies some of that.
Okay, so Total Harmony Enterprises was birthed 10 years ago. So I've been in business for 10 years. But with any business, you always have to transform yourself. You have to constantly reinvent yourself, bring new things to the table so that you stay appealing to your audiences. And so in the last year, right in the middle of the pandemic, I birthed Make Me Over Wellness, which is the health and the wellness and beauty side of my business, where I do body contouring work. I do body wraps, sauna wraps, teaching women how to just take that moment just for self-care, to recharge, to, worry about their lady parts, get their V steaming, get their vaginal rejuvenation. The older we get, we have to tighten up some parts and things. So I teach ladies that, that you have to look good in order to feel good inside and out. And so that's where Make Me Over Wellness comes in. But Total Harmony Enterprises is my baby. That's when I birthed it 10 years ago. And that's where the speaking and the different books came into play. Never wanted to be an author, believe it or not. That was not on the radar. But my twin sister, Dr. Chere Goode, kept saying, somebody needs to hear your story. Somebody needs to hear your story. And it took me probably 6 years to write my first book, which was way, way, way too long, right? I kept touching it, putting it down. And my first book was a #1 bestseller called The Crash That Altered My Life.
Wow.
And literally the first day it became a bestseller. And then after that, I had the bug. Ever since then, I've been writing. And with my recent losses, which we'll talk about shortly, I felt like there's been a lot of loss, especially with COVID. A lot of families are hurting. A lot of people are really hurting. They're afraid to really genuinely show what they are going through in the midst of that loss. And so that's where the new book anthology, Permission to Feel and Heal, came into play. It'll be released May the 22nd of this year. We have 18 or 19 authors that are going to share their courageous testimonies of healing after loss. And the good part about this is that some of us are still in our healing phases, like myself. And so we're real, we're raw, we're telling people exactly how we feel. And then you find that common denominator that you're not alone. And no, you're not going crazy because you have these feelings, you're grieving or you've lost. But it is light at the end of that tunnel. You will see how to continue to move on. It's not easy, but you do keep moving every day.
Wow. That's powerful. I'm really excited to have you here. So guys, I met Dr. Goode at an event years ago, and she doesn't know this, but it was when I had closed my event and set design business with film and TV. And I felt that I had to empower women and I didn't know how. And your twin power came to a speaking engagement here and said, you should come to Playtime is Over. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I don't know if I'm coming to Playtime is Over because that's not really my circle. I'm not sure if that's where I belong. And I went with my friend Angela C. Gray, who's up here watching, and it changed my life. It was there that I realized I had a voice and that my story could be told and used. I also met you there and a couple other ladies that I still speak to today. And so I'm so happy that you said yes, because you said yes. I was able to attend an event where you and your circle of women that you and your sister gathered said yes. And I was able to move forward in what I do and being here today. And things have changed so much for me. And I couldn't be more excited and more happy. And so I've watched your journey for years, and you are always not just doing something, but finishing something, which is powerful. And so when I thought about doing coffee and community conversation and wanted to set the stage for the first series of conversations, because this is new, especially for Women's History Month, I just really felt that She Persisted was a topic that I had to make sure that I got women that I knew were powerful, that were able to build, and that carried something that they carried through pain, through pressure, through purpose, and through promise. And so, Dr. Goode, I'm not going to continue running my mouth because the women here didn't come to hear me. They came to hear you. Would you share with us your story on how you persisted in loss?
Absolutely. So 2020 into 21, it feels like someone described it best. 2021 feels like a run-on sentence from 2020. So I've been definitely sharing my story out loudly, but for those of you who don't know my story, it was August the 22nd of 2020. Literally, I had just gotten in bed, had pin curled my hair as we do so we can look cute the next day, and put on my PJs. And I was excited because I was just getting ready to recharge. And I sit on my bed with my laptop, as we so often do, just thinking, oh, let me get in a little work that I have to get in before I close it down for the night. When I got this phone call, and it was about 10 something in the evening, and I pick up the phone, I'm saying hello. And all I hear is this young man saying, Miss Cheri, Jordan is gone. Miss Cheri, Jordan is gone. And I jump out of the bed immediately. I didn't know what I was doing. I literally jumped out of the bed in my pajamas and I said, what? Where are you? What's going on? Where are you? So he's describing where they are, which is not far from my home. They're on 795, which is a beltway. He's at the exit just before coming towards my home. And I'm like, let me speak to an officer or somebody. Let me speak to somebody. Is the police there? Is the ambulance there? What is going on? And I really wasn't getting a lot of details. So I spoke with the state trooper, and the state trooper said, I can't tell you anything until you get here. And I said, well, I'm already on my way. I'm only an exit away. I will be there. And so I head out to my vehicle, frantically, just breathing hard and heavy. And I'm trying to calm myself down because I feel in my spirit that it's something bad. Now, Jordan is my baby boy. He's 20 years old. My baby boy, I have two sons, 26 and 20, Joshua and Jordan, the loves of my life, my heartbeats. And so as I got to my vehicle, I said, this is not a good idea for me to go alone. I don't think I should be driving. So I called a girlfriend who lived around the corner, and I said, listen, I just got a phone call. It doesn't sound good that Jordan was in an accident. I need you to come get me. She's like, okay, I'm coming. Well, when you're frantic and you're wary, time seems to take forever and a day. So her 5 minutes to get to me felt like an eternity. So my impatient self jumped in my vehicle, and as I started to drive down the street from my home, she calls me and tells me, pull over, I'm right behind you. So I pull over and I park my vehicle in a nearby shopping center, and I jump into her car. So we head over to the Beltway, and when we're on one side of the Beltway, we see the other side is a parking lot. And so I'm shaking and I'm saying, this is not good. This is not good. I can just feel it in my spirit. This is not good. And so we had to go all the way down one side of the Beltway, turn around and come back on the opposite side, which we met this parking lot. We literally drove alongside the gravel all the way up as far as we could go. But there were so many cars that cars were now starting to line up on the side of the Beltway. So my girlfriend and I, we jump out of our cars. We jump out of the car. Her son is with her. And she says, look, you have to drive. We're going to go. We're running and we're breathing and we're running because we're out of shape because we're in our 40s. And we're like, this is too much. And as we get closer and closer, I can see the state troopers. So I'm thinking we're getting closer. We literally ran 3 miles up the Beltway to get to the accident scene for the trooper to come and stand in front of me and tell me, well, after he confirmed who I was, and he looked at my ID and he confirmed, I'm sorry to tell you, he didn't make it. My 20-year-old son, my scholar, my athlete, the one who was headed to the NFL, the one that was doing everything right, who was on a full ride scholarship to college. He was the starting wide receiver at Morgan State University. He was one of the #1 track stars for all the HBCUs. In that instant, that trooper told me that my baby boy, my heartbeat, was gone. I can remember falling to the ground on the Beltway, just falling to the ground and just rocking back and forth. This can't be real. This can't be real. And the troopers tried their best to guard me from seeing his body laying near the guardrail. But I could still remember in my eyes just white tennis shoes, his white Nikes. My son loved tennis shoes. And all I can remember seeing is just the white tennis shoes. And still to this day, sometimes I'm awakened by that vision of his white tennis shoes. My 20-year-old baby is gone in an instant. He had just moved from home 2 weeks before this accident. He had just started his new life, had just moved his girlfriend to live with him from Colorado. She had shifted her life and came here to be with him. He was getting ready to start his junior year in college. And he only had his motorcycle, which we knew nothing about, for 4 days. So my entire world was shook. As I mentioned before, I only have 2 sons. So now half of my heart is shattered and broken. I didn't want to exist anymore, honestly. I was like, I don't even, what's the purpose now? He was my why. He was one of my whys. My other son is my why as well. But Jordan was my why. He was my baby boy. He kept me going. He was the one that always said, Mom, send me the cash apps. And Mom, are you going to be at the games? And I was at every single game from the time he was at 8 years old. 8 years old, he's been playing football, and that was the love of his life. And every single game, I was there cheering him on, his biggest cheerleader, dressed in all the whatever color his uniform was. I had those color wigs and makeup and everything ready to be there by his side. It is by the strength of God and a super strong support system, my twin sister, Dr. Chere Goode, that my son even got buried, literally. My sister shifted and she left her family to come be by my side. I'm going to say she stayed with me for at least a month, just making sure everything got done. She helped me to lay my baby boy beautifully, lay him to rest beautifully. And so every single day, I just had to put my feet out of the bed. That was the goal every day. Just make simple goals. just slowly but surely get your life back. But it was hard. There are days where, still today, where I scream, I cry, I'll just lay across the bed in disbelief that my son, his life was just snubbed in an instant. Simple goals like getting out of bed every day, putting on makeup, maybe doing a selfie shoot just to make yourself feel alive and feel good. Those were some of the things that I had to do. And so every single day, I felt like I'm getting a little bit stronger. I'm getting a little bit stronger. Fast forward to this year, February the 17th of this year, 2021. 3 days prior to that date, the 14th, I get a phone call that my son's father, Jordan and Joshua, their father, is sick and is not going to make it. 52 years old. So I'm like, what is going on? What are you talking about? This is a strong person. 3 days later, I got the call that his father had died in the hospital. 52 years old. So just at the 6 month, he was just a little bit shy of the 6 month anniversary of my son Jordan's death. Now his father is gone. It rocked my world and took me back to step one of grief, where I just started to have acceptance. I was now back in the denial phase. You see, his dad couldn't live without his son. He was heartbroken. He was shattered. My biggest thing is knowing that I had a huge support system that wasn't going to let me shatter. It wasn't going to let me stay to the wayside. They weren't going to let me fail. They weren't going to let me just lay there and not live. So it was too much loss at one time. People often ask me, how is it that I get up every single day and even just pursue my dreams and my goals? I've changed my pain to a mission. So if you're someone who is dealing with loss or grief, it doesn't have to just be loss and death. It could be financial loss. It could be loss of a business. It could be loss of any kind of relationship. Again, make those simple goals. How do you get up every single day? Change your pain to a mission. I went into immediate action to keep my son's memory and his legacy alive. You see, at the age of 20, my son had such a huge legacy that he left behind. There were only over 20,000 people on his funeral, virtual funeral viewing, and then over 400 some people in the funeral home that we rented out. He left a legacy, and I refused to let that legacy die. So the first thing I did was I started a scholarship fund in his honor called the Jordan Cofield Scholarship. That way we can support other youth who are doing things like my son. He was on the dean's list. He was a scholar and an athlete. And so we want to use his name and his legacy to keep pushing someone else forward, pushing other students to continue to pursue their dreams, because he was going to make it big. That was the first thing I did. The second thing I did was I thought about who my son was. He was giving, he was loving, he was kind. He was liked by many. He always went for the underdog and helped build them up. So I started an initiative called Jordan's Way, which is a random act of kindness initiative. So I had cards made with his beautiful picture on the front, with his beautiful smile. And on the back, it tells a little bit about him and what happened to him, and that he was in a tragic motorcycle crash. And that Jordan was one who often did acts of kindness for others. And so then when you perform a random act of kindness for someone, you pass that card along to them, and then they do a random act of kindness, and then they pass the card along. And so it gets, the card gets passed on and on and on. So it's doing multiple things. Number one, it's encouraging people to be kind to one another. And then secondly, it's keeping Jordan's name and his legacy alive. And then the third thing that I've done to change my pain into my mission is to adopt a roadway in his honor near my home. So he went to school in Owings Mills. He's very widely known in the Owings Mills, Maryland area. And so I adopted a roadway on Ricerstown Road in Owings Mills, where 4 times a year we get people together. Whoever wants to volunteer, we go and we clean that roadway in both directions. And they're developing a sign now within the next couple months that will be raised in both directions, saying that the roadway has been adopted in his honor. And so that was the 3 ways that I turned my pain into missions. And so just staying busy is another way that if you are someone who is dealing with loss and you're trying to heal, I would say the first thing is to stay busy. Don't let yourself sit idle. When you sit idle, you have all kind of crazy thoughts. I can just remember it was at night that I had the worst thoughts that I could have. That was when I would start having the anxiety. That was when I would feel my worst, was at night. Why? Because it's quiet and it gets lonely. Have a support system for that, for those nights where you feel like you just can't go on anymore. So definitely don't stay idle. Stay busy. That's number one. Number two, stay prayed up, because it's only by the strength of God that I'm even standing right now. Only by the strength of God, knowing that he's not going to give me more than I can bear, and knowing that the weight that is on me right now is because he gave me broad enough shoulders in order to tolerate it. Number three, cling tightly to your support system. Don't be afraid to share your feelings with people. There is no shame in grief. A lot of times we think that we have to stay strong for others. We don't. Wherever you are, whatever you're feeling at that moment, allow yourself to feel whatever it is that you feel at that moment. Sometimes you have to go through it to get through it. And so that's what I gave myself permission to do. I gave myself permission to cry when I felt like crying, no matter who was around or where I was. I gave myself permission to scream when I needed to scream, no matter where I was, no matter who I was with. And I gave myself permission to not get up some days. Some days I just did not want to get out of bed, and I didn't. So give yourself permission to feel whatever it is you're feeling at any given time, and go through it in order to get through it. The only way that you will heal is if you allow yourself to honestly go through the feelings and the emotions that you feel going on at that moment. Last but not least, I would say the last way that has helped me to continue to want to just keep moving and keep going is to make sure that I am keeping his memory alive, and making sure that I focus on the years of happiness that I had with him. So don't focus on the negative side that now that person or that thing is gone. Focus on the joy that you had when that thing or that person was here. So I have millions and millions of pictures of my son. So we made a lot of memories. And so I have 20 years of memories to reflect on and to think about. And so those are the ways that I actually have been able to just move forward every single day. And so I hope that has helped someone today. There is life after grief and loss. Make sure that you give yourself the permission to feel whatever it is that you feel at any time without any explanation. It's okay to say no to others, to say yes to yourself. You need time to heal. So it's okay. And don't let anyone tell you when enough healing is enough, or when to stop grieving whatever you have lost, because it can take years. I can recall after losing my son, my memory was just horrible. And seek therapy, seek counseling. It's okay. I did start grief therapy kind of immediately after my son was buried and everything, but I felt like it was too soon. So I put it down, but now I have started to pick up that therapy and that counseling again with a therapist, just to talk about my feelings. Sometimes you have to get someone outside who's going to be non-judgmental. So there is nothing wrong with having a therapist and getting some counseling, especially if you have multiple losses, because literally, if you don't get the help that you need, it could mean your very life. It could mean your mental health. So just trying to stay whole, mind, body, and spirit. It's a daily task for all of us anyway. But when you have loss, it's even more of a journey. So you have to make sure that every single day you are being kind to yourself. Be merciful with yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. That's right. Go through it to get through it, and stay prayed up. Make sure you cling to those people who give you strength, not those that are going to judge you and make you feel like you're doing something wrong because you are grieving, or you're dealing with loss, or you're still in the midst of your healing. Because on the opposite side, trust me, there is happiness, there is laughter, there is life after loss. So thank you for having me today. I definitely appreciate it. I hope that this message has touched someone today, and giving you at least a couple ways to just feel like you can propel yourself forward. You can push forward. You can have the permission officially today. If no one is giving you permission, I'm giving you permission right now to feel and heal.
Wow. My goodness, what a powerful testimony, powerful story. I got so much out of this. I know that the ladies did too. I have some private chats also. I want to give the women an opportunity to ask any questions that they may have from you, if that's okay. Next
Sure.
2 to 3 minutes. If you guys have any questions, I want you to share. And while we're waiting for them to post, Chere says, genuine support system is so key. Thank you for sharing your story. Teresa also says, thank you for sharing your testimony. Many blessings to you. Kim Gore said, thank you for your story and your life lessons. Erica Champion says, wow, thank you so much. And Cassie Jackie, I call her, says, blessings to you, Dr. Goode. Thank you for sharing. And of course, Kim Gore said, there is life after Greece. And Dawn said, so powerful. I heard so much that you said. And, I think one of the things that the women are going to leave here remembering, because it was a lot, is that I've changed my pain to a mission. That was powerful. And I hope y'all got this, that there was an upward turn. And when I say upward, that doesn't mean that things got better immediately. Like Dr. Goode was able to, in turmoil and in the midst of tragedy, she gave us a strategy on how to seek and shift how we feel and how we fight. And that was powerful. Staying prayed up, clinging tightly to your support system, creating something out of your pain. You birthed through it. Jordan's way, that random act of kindness. You adopted a roadway in his name. All of those are powerful things. And while you guys are asking questions, somebody did ask, how do we get involved in Jordan's way? I actually am throwing up Dr. Goode's Cash App up on the screen right now. It's Chere Goode. And I know that, she came. I know that I'm going to sow some more into Jordan's way, into some of what she's doing. And I want to encourage you guys to also do the same, to be a part of continuing his legacy. I'm looking at so many women up here, moms, and I couldn't imagine. And I know that there's some parts in our life and some people that we lost that we want to continue their legacy. So let's support her and what she's doing. Dr. Goode, other than sending through Cash App, is there other ways that we can support you?
The biggest way to support me is just follow me, keep in touch with me and all the projects that I have coming up. TotalHarmonyEnterprises.com and MakeMeOverWellness.com are my websites, but you can reach Make Me Over Wellness through TotalHarmonyEnterprises.com. Any money that I do receive from that Cash App will go right to the scholarship fund. There is a GoFundMe set up. It's called the Jordan Cofield Scholarship Fund on GoFundMe. I don't know that link right offhand, but if I get any donations through Cash App, that I will transfer them to that bank account for that scholarship fund.
Yeah, and so that's what I'll do, is that I'll also, for those of you who signed up on the Corporate Community Conversation site, I'll shoot you a message with everything that Dr. Goode has going on, which includes the flyers and that promo and direct links to her website, her Cash App, and other ways that you can serve. Kim Gore said, I think I remember that you are a hospice nurse. How do you support families who are dealing with this transition?
Well, I tell you, I literally, for my own health and wellness and mental state, I took 3 months off. I am a hospice nurse. I am back to work now, and some days I can't do it. And when I can't do it, I don't do it. As you see, I'm in a hotel room right now. I'm in Dallas, Texas, taking some courses to improve myself. I'm leaving and coming back to Maryland. So I almost forgot that it was an hour. You're an hour ahead of them here in Texas. So I was like, oh my goodness, I have to get on now. But I support families that are dealing with transition by making sure that their loved ones are comfortable. That's the biggest thing. Nobody wants to think that their loved one was in pain at death. So making sure they're comfortable, letting them know what they're seeing and letting them know when it's closer. Some families stay there and they do a camped out visual, but then other families, they choose, like, just call me when you think it's closer. Sometimes we get a warning, sometimes we don't. But the biggest way is to, support them, letting them know that, we can keep their loved one pain-free all day long with medication and things like that, making sure they're comfortable and explaining what they're seeing in those signs and symptoms with their loved ones.
Wow. Thank you. Last question, I think. Kaylee Keithline said, with the grief, how did you still seek God? I know that when I get weary, I have a hard time staying focused.
Oh, definitely. Focus is is very hard for me these days. Sometimes I'll start one thing and I forget, and I'm like, what in the world? So music is very instrumental in my life. So I'll listen to inspirational music. I'll listen to motivational speeches that encourage and boost me. And sometimes I'm rocking and crying with that music. So it's whatever it is that you feel like, brings you that strength. So there is no right or wrong way. Some people are avid readers. Reading the Bible helps, but reading the book of Proverbs, that's a book of comfort. And so reading that, and then I've gotten so many books from people dealing with grief and loss of a child. It's a totally different type of grief that I never knew the pain that would come behind losing a child. I've lost a parent, but losing a child is a totally different type of grief, for sure.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. Man, powerful. And thank you for taking time out your schedule, your time, to jump on and talk to us today. So guys, I'm going to throw up this Cash App one more time. I just want to encourage everyone to go ahead and to sow into what she's doing to continue her son's legacy. And listen, if you guys make a cash donation, inbox me and tell me that you did. I'm going to confirm it because I know your jokers might, be funny. If you do, I got a She Persisted t-shirt for you, or me, for sewing into whatever Dr. Goode is doing today. I'm so excited that she was here. Dr. Goode, thank you for joining us. And if you already got paid for your shirt, you're not getting the cash back. So look, today's been great. Thank you so much for joining us. Guys, at the end of this, I'm going to rerun that video. I want you guys to take a peek at what Dr. Goode is doing. She's on Facebook. They can follow you by searching
Chere Goode on all your social media platforms.
All social media platforms. She's speaking at an upcoming event with Les Brown, right?
Yes.
And she has a lot of things happening. Her anthology is dropping in May. I want to encourage you guys to purchase. Maybe I'll bring her back during that time if she's available to share with her authors, so you guys can greet. There's some women that aren't up here that I wish was here that have lost children that I wanted to connect you with, and next time, and they'll watch the replay. So guys, look, thank you for joining us today. Okay, great. Cash App one more time. Okay. Cash App one more time. There you go. Chere Goode. Thank you, guys. So look, guys, thank you so much for joining us for this week's episode of Coffee and Community Conversation. Next week, we close out with the She Persisted panel. I didn't tell you guys who was coming. I just want you to join me. It's a big surprise. I was able to gather some women together that you otherwise wouldn't see together, right? It's important that iron sharpens iron, and our series next month is on bloom. This is the first day of spring, and so we'll be talking about how the seed shifted. Sometimes we plant something in the ground and we go back and look for it and there's no growth and we wonder where it went. And so we're going to talk about what happens when you sowed in an area and what you sowed just hasn't produced. And so we're going to be talking about that next month. And I'm always an inbox away. Visit us at www.coffeeandcommunityconversations.com if you're interested in signing up to get alerts to find out when we are live and to pick up your t-shirt. Again, my name is PKO. I'm your girl, and this is Dr. Chere Goode. We are both happy that you joined us today. Speak to you guys soon. Bye.